in any domain of knowledge or interest to anybody, there are going to be light mentors and dark mentors, as I call them. And these dark mentors are going to be sophisticated entities that are striving to guide you deeper into sin and into darkness. The light mentors are going to be guiding you toward maybe something that seems dark at first, but they have to go, like, you have to move beyond the suffering and into something greater. God will transform, He will transform your suffering into something beautiful. And this is something that you have to trust. But you have to have discernment, especially with a topic like this, which is why women go silent, not always because of their disinterest, okay? If you ever noticed a woman around you is being a little too quiet, she's just seems kind of cold and disinterested, and she doesn't even want to look at you, sometimes these are the women that want you the most. Now, you have to pay great attention and have discernment, as I mentioned, to do this, because it takes one that is able to read energy more so than just the words of a person. Because the words of a people and a person, specifically a woman, is not always going to match her actions. And in fact, most of the time, women are just not going to have their actions and their words align. It's just the way that it is. They are forms and creatures of deception. And the ones that are good are actually going to see how they can actually align their words and their actions, and it's not going to be a hindrance to who they want to be. Whereas the women that are trying to prop up an image, they're going to misalign these because they don't want to mess up their image, right? They don't want to reveal who they are, because a lot of these women out here have secrets. They almost have something to hide, right? Now, how do you tell? Like, how do you tell when a woman is actually interested in you, but she's just being kind of quiet, she's being silent, and she's kind of treating you like, you're nobody? Well, it depends on the situation, right? Again, discernment is very, very important here. I do not want to underestimate that, because I don't want men to go out there and be like, oh, she must be interested in me because, oh, well, she's not paying attention to me. That means she must be interested. It's like, okay, no, no, that's not what that means. It means that depending on the kind of woman that you're associating with, she's going to be either very talkative with you, or she's going to be very quiet with you if she likes you. Okay, if a woman is constantly trying to talk to you, if you ask her a question and then she gives you like a book about nothing, that means usually she likes you. Okay, she just wants to talk, and she just wants to, like, for you to hear her talk. And look, that's not a bad thing. That's just the way that it is. But really though, there are going to be women that are maybe a bit more shy, which it is kind of endearing when a woman is like this, right? It is a little bit endearing, but it's one thing for you to discern whether or not this woman is interested in you, and it's another thing to just kind of fly by the seat of your other head. Okay, just to be very clear there. You don't want to think with your other head when going about that discernment, when you're trying to figure out if that woman actually likes you or not, if she's being silent. But the biggest thing that I would say that you need to look at is if she is shy, and she actually does like you, you want to make her feel comfortable. You want to give her some confidence, okay? Boost her self-esteem a little bit, because she's probably propping you up on a pedestal that you don't necessarily need to be on. Now, it's better for you to be, as a man, on a pedestal than for you to put a woman on the pedestal. But I don't think that it's necessarily a bad thing for you guys to admire one another. Okay, that's part of a healthy relationship dynamic, is there's a healthy sense of respect and admiration there. But if you can prop up her self-esteem, if you can give her some confidence, and I don't want to call it an ego boost, because that's not what we're wanting to do here, but if you want to give her just some confidence and show her that you want her, right? Show her that you want her, and even just tell her that. I had a woman, there was a coffee shop a couple years ago that I used to go to pretty frequently, and there was a woman there who went there pretty often as well. And I just straight up told her, I desire you. And that was just what I said in that instance, because I didn't know, like, that's just what I was thinking. So I just said it. And she was just like, what? And she turned as red as a tomato. And she was really, very, very obviously attracted to me as well. But I didn't see that she was, because she was giving me choosing signals, but I didn't see that she actually kind of turned into that shy type, because she started to see that, oh, maybe I'm a player. Now, I'm not a player, but I just tell a woman how I feel and what I'm thinking. There's nothing wrong with that. A lot of men will tell you, this is like the dark mentors, okay? The dark mentors, the dating gurus on YouTube or X or whatever, they'll tell you like, oh, you never want to tell a woman how you feel. It's like, okay, well, it's how many successful relationships have you gotten with that mentality? And I'm talking about biblical relationships grounded in Christ. How many successful relationships has that been the case? Because I know if I never tell a woman how I feel about her, I can get her to do anything that I want, for sure. But there's not going to be any grounding in God. It's all going to be for the sake of pleasure. It's just going to be pleasure for pleasure's sake, and that's not what I'm trying to do. Even though I know that it works, I know that being mysterious works, but that doesn't mean that like that's the goal here. Okay? You kind of want some skin in the game. You kind of want to ensure that you have maybe a little bit of something going on within yourself, so that you want to be connected to the woman and the woman wants to be connected to you. Because as I've mentioned before, the relationships that you have with the opposite gender are a direct reflection of the types of relationships that you have with your unconscious. Okay, how you relate to the women in your life as a man, or as if you're a woman watching this, perhaps, I don't know, maybe some of them are, but if you relate to men in a certain way, that's how you relate to your unconscious mind. So you'll see a lot of men be like, oh, all women are whores, all women are this, and it's like, well, yeah, many women are that way. Okay, like women, I genuinely believe that all women are capable of being whores. That's totally possible. And hoes, I think that's totally possible. In fact, I think that in many ways they're inclined to, and some of that like is repression of sexuality that gets exposed in a negative way. Like I've seen that with Mormons in Utah, where I'm from. Like the sexual repression is insane. The lengths that people will go to after they like leave the church to just showcase their sexuality is insane. It's absolutely insane. And they'll repress it. And so they kind of just go to the opposite polarity, so that has to be expressed in a new way. So we want to, on this channel, what we want to do is create healthy relationship dynamics that are for long-term relationships, okay? I don't want to encourage anybody to have sex with anybody that is just, if you're not planning, let's put it this way, if you're not planning to have a family with this person, I don't want to say marriage, because I have technicalities on that, and spiritual perceptions on that. But if you want to have a family with this person, if you can see yourself having a family with this person legitimately, and you've talked about this, then yeah, I think that's when you can make that jump into that intimate part of your life with the other person, because you're planning to have a family with this person. But you can't say, oh, I met this person last week and I know she's the one, I know she's the nope, it's not gonna work like that, buddy. It's not gonna work like that. It's not gonna work like that. It's not how things work, because in the real world, let's get back to reality here. In the real world, it takes time. Like, it's like a flower, okay? You've got to let it blossom, and you can't force it into blossoming. Sometimes the flower isn't even going to blossom the way you think it's going to blossom, okay? You've got to nurture it. You've got to care for it. You've got to guide that plant to let it sprout, okay? But you have to nurture it. You have to maintain it. You have to give it sunlight, etc., etc. You can't just be like, oh, I planted the seed. Now I know that it's gonna happen. So, like, I'm just gonna go for it. It's like, okay, no. It's okay to plant the seed, but see if it grows. See how it grows. Okay, maybe you planted a seed hoping for like a peach tree or something, and instead, it's like, I don't know. Maybe it's like a blueberry bush or something. I don't know. Something random, right? You maybe wanted that peach tree, but instead it's gonna be an apple tree. You gotta let it grow, man. You gotta let it see what's gonna grow into it, right? You've got to see how it's gonna happen. Because if you just go in there expecting things to be the way that you feel like they're gonna be, okay, well, do you want the relationship, or do you want the relationship as you feel like it's gonna be? Okay. This is something you, again, just ground yourself back in reality, because I've seen in myself in the distant past, as well as many other men, try to like start things and initiate things with women, and it's just too soon. And it just hurts everybody more so in the long run, because the more soul ties everybody has to each other that are unhealthy, the more it's going to disassociate the whole collective consciousness from the relationship that we all have with the collective unconscious. So it's going to disrupt our ability to relate to one another. It's going to disrupt and destroy the family dynamic. It's going to hinder our ability to grow together. It's going to encourage us to help nobody and to hurt people, because we can only be sadists or masochists in that kind of dynamic. It's not healthy. It's just simply not healthy. So I hope this message was useful and insightful for you. All right. And the reason that I'm talking about this is because we're going through the Art of Seduction class right now in the Regal Change Academy. And although it's not explicitly for like the romantic side, like we're talking about business and personal relationships, etc., I think that because it's not just romantic. The art of seduction is life, and life is seduction to some degree. Okay. And I want to be able to provide a perspective that's going to be a little bit more in depth, that maybe has a little bit more oomph behind it than these dating gurus and all of that. I think some of them have a lot of truth to what they're saying. But just because something is true doesn't mean that it's always going to be right. Okay? Like, it's true that evil exists, but that doesn't mean that it's right for evil to prosper. Okay? It doesn't mean that. So with all that being said, I hope this message was useful and insightful. Peace. Until next time.